Well, Brad Bradford is the current city councillor for Beaches East York, and former Mayor John Tory's seat, of course, has yet to be declared vacant. But today, Bradford announced that he has formed an advisory committee that he says has the energy, or he has the energy it needs to tackle the challenges of the city. So for more on this, we're joined live by City Councillor Brad Bradford. Good to see you, Councillor. Thanks for being here again.
Good to see you, Nick.
Okay, you've set up a 16-person advisory panel with some sort of top-notch political advisors, commentators, etc. Are you in? I mean, are you really in this campaign?
We are considering it very seriously, and I'm not pushing that off. It's just this is one of the most important jobs that anyone could ever consider, and I want to do that in a really thoughtful way. So we've tapped a team of advisors that represents a broad political view, very diverse, geographically based across the city, different sectors, and they're feeding into that conversation about what's important for Toronto and what leadership needs to look like going forward.
So, but what are they actually telling you? I mean, some of these people have run campaigns before over the years, successful campaigns, etc. Are they saying you're the man for the job right now? And what are you hearing from people you're speaking to as well?
There's a lot of belief that Toronto needs strong, decisive leadership right now. It's an opportunity for generational change, a new chapter in Toronto, and somebody who has the energy and the enthusiasm to tackle the big issues. But I'm talking to Torontonians from across the entire city, hundreds and hundreds of phone calls. And, you know, they probably have the same concerns that you might have, you know, concerns around public safety, concerns around getting to where they need to go. The idea that, you know, increasingly housing is out of reach. If you want to live here in this city, it's harder and harder to do that. So, you know, I'm taking my cues from the community. I always say I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I really need to focus on listening. This advisory committee is steering those conversations, helping us summarize that feedback, and really make sure that if we do go forward, we're doing it in a thoughtful way that reflects the feedback we've heard from across the whole city.
Let me ask, in the advisory committee announcement that you put out this morning, it says here, you know, hundreds of residents from every quarter of Toronto, they are concerned that our city is stuck in a slow state of decline. What does that mean? What is it that people that you understand, what do you interpret that to mean, the slow state of decline?
Well, look, I love this city. You know, that's why I'm here with my partner and we're raising a family. That's why we continue to be a magnet for growth and talent from around the world. People want to be here in Toronto. But if you've been here for a little while, you've seen that, you know, we might be moving in the wrong direction. There might be some slips and some cracks. Our garbage bins are overflowing. People don't feel safe taking the TTC right now. And again, housing is increasingly out of reach. So it's about stopping that state of decline. It's about building a city together that is inclusive and diverse and capitalizes on all the great assets that we have here. And it's about making sure we're building a city we can all be proud of.
You were a close ally of former Mayor John Tory, and also now you're in your second term as council. What is it the council missed over the last several years that you think is leading to this decline then?
Well, again, I think the last couple of years have been exceptionally challenging. What we've all been through as families and neighbors and communities, obviously on the backside of a global pandemic, it's been really challenging. We have seen big changes with other levels of government, and yet it's never been more clear how important those relationships are with the province, with the federal government. And it's time to have a conversation about the role of our cities in society. You know, Constitution was a long time ago when we had Confederation. And the role of service delivery here in Toronto is very, very different today. We need to be armed with the resources and the opportunities to deliver on the hopes and aspirations of Torontonians. It's a much bigger conversation, and I think we've seen some of the fallout of that over the past couple of years. But again, it's a new chapter in Toronto. It's a new moment. It's time for new leadership. It's time to move forward. And I just think it's really important that we have someone with the energy to take on all the big files.
Also in your statement today, you talk about you lead a the campaign I lead represents, you know, broad diversity and perspectives. Out of the 16 people here, you know, we kind of went through this in the news. 12 people sort of white, 3 South Asian, 1 member of the sort of Indigenous community. No black people on this sort of diverse perspectives. Do you feel like you're lacking some there potentially?
We have updated the list. The list continues to grow. It's actually grown to 18 folks this morning. But, you know, again, really what we're doing is talking to a broad section of Torontonians. Not everybody is going to be on a list. You know, it would be many pages long if we did that. And listening is the most important thing I can do right now. And in a city as diverse as Toronto, where more than half of our residents were in fact born somewhere else in the world, we need to make sure that we have leadership that is carefully listening and not just tokenism, but seat at the table, shaping those conversations, shaping the direction that we need to go forward as a community, as a city. I am listening. I'm deeply engaged in those processes. And frankly, I'm very grateful that I have a lot of people stepping up to help out.
Okay, so you're not officially in yet, but at this point, you know, we know the deadline is approaching now to make that declaration. Do you have a timeline in mind as to when you think you will declare one way or the other whether you're in or whether you're not?
We will certainly let people know as soon as we know with certainty. That deadline is April 3rd when nominations open up. I won't be sitting around waiting. If we're going in April 3rd. You will hear between now and then. And again, in the weeks ahead, it's about that deep listening, that conversation with Torontonians from across the city and making sure that, if I am running, I'm doing it in the right way. I'm doing it in a way that's reflective of people's concerns. And we've got a mission and a mandate to create the kind of change we want to see in Toronto.
Okay, good to have a conversation with you about this afternoon then. And of course, the seat's always open for you to come in and have a chat with us here.
Love to be here.